Politics. Let's talk about it. Being a teenager is it's quite hard. Especially when you're exposed to these things such as politics. It alters with your emotions a lot. As we all know, November 4th or November 5th was a historic day. We marked our 47th President of the United States, and it was revolutionary because, number one, it cemented a place where anybody can be president. I think that's what the 45th and now 47th has now proved, that anyone can be president, and you can go from a person from New York and build your way up. You can prove that you can be a businessman and a media personality, and you can become president. It's a bit controversial, and I don't want to be really biased, but I want to be truthful. This election was kind of predictable since the start. We've had two candidates, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and they were fighting to get to the magic number 270. 270 is the requirement in the Electoral College to win the presidency, and it is divided into two because there are 538 electoral votes in total. And really, when you divide it, you get 269, but you have to break even and make it 270. So that's the whole metric of the Electoral College. Trump was able to make it there and win every single swing state flawlessly at that too. I feel like what the Democrats failed to do and what Kamala failed to do was focus with middle class constituency. It just didn't work because, number one, she didn't have enough time to make a campaign. She didn't have enough time in 107 days to make a full campaign talking to the American people. But then again, you had 1,500 days. You've had 3.5 years. And if anything, that we were kind of worse off than where we started. I know it's harsh, but it's the truth. We've had a border crisis. We've had insane inflation. A lot of people conflate inflation with the economy. The economy is doing really well. The stock market is doing really well. It's just a simple fact that the American dream, as she said, has become unobtainable.
Is elusive. It's just actually not attainable.
Which is very true because people can't even buy a Kit Kat. So what the Democrats failed to do was take a look at that. Also, big topic. She wasn't even on the top of the ticket. Not in 2019, not in 2024. It was supposed to be Biden. Biden is the current president, and he sought for his second term. And as we all know, if you take a picture of him and you plaster it on a wall, you can obviously see that this man is ineligible to run for president of the United States, let alone even hold any power. This is technically elderly abuse. It has to be classified as that. You have a man that cannot handle a flight of steps, and you let him deal with diplomatic resolutions. I fail to believe that will work in any kind of way. The Democratic Party should have started in 2022, when everyone was saying Trump was a lost cause, Trump was gone, Trump was banished, Trump was vanquished. You can say all of that, but you all knew deep down that that guy with that much perseverance, that guy with slight immaturity, and slight immaturity is a compliment. you take that man and you really think that he wouldn't even try to run again when all resorts have failed, especially January 6th? It doesn't make sense, you know? So you have that. You have Biden basically crippling by the day. And you have Kamala after the Afghanistan withdrawal in August of 2021, I believe, clinches the role as the most unpopular vice president in American history. How do you beat Mike Pence at that? How do you beat Dick Cheney at that? If you don't know who Dick Cheney is, he was a vice president under George Bush. The son. Doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. You cannot get me to believe that we thought that this party would win again. It was a coalition that brought together the Trump 2024 campaign. That made it stronger than ever. Honestly, really and truly, Harris and Biden made Trump win. Trump made Kamala and Biden lose. Let's start from 2021 January 6th. The Capitol was rioted, and it was a deep devastation for America that day. And then he was impeached. We can now comfortably say President Trump was impeached, but he was not convicted yet. And he left. He went to Florida and he was planning his return, which he did. And he announced his run in, I believe, of November of 2023, but he was already campaigning in like 2022 or 2021 even. And it came back bigger, better, and stronger once the issues in the Biden and Harris administration grew stronger and stronger and stronger. Honestly. So you had that. You had people actually going into Trump a lot more and gravitating to him because they thought, hey, I had no wars with this guy. I had no and crazy inflation with this guy. But then we forget the big thing on why people voted him out. I told you I was not going to be biased, so this is just contrary to popular belief. And so you had that, and then you have the indictments that come in 2024, which made his campaign stronger. But he became the first convicted president. He became the first convicted president. First convicted former president. That sets a stamp on America. That does not look good. It doesn't. And the Supreme Court gave him immunity. So that worked in his favor. And at that point, that just set a stamp saying that he won. Once that happened, that meant that he won. And then hearings came in a day after the election, that were supposed to occur a day after the election. So Trump had a lot at stake, and the Democrats had a lot at stake, and America had a lot at stake. Everyone was going to be in somewhat of a lose-win situation, and it's hard to even fathom the win in it, you know. I can honestly say that we'll fix this border crisis and possibly end these wars with President Trump. Honestly, I mean, I have to really be honest. And people thinking that Kamala Harris would have won, or let alone had been a good president, let's take away gender, let's take away race, because don't get me wrong, representation matters. It means a lot, you know. And with that being said, when she ran in 2019, she was the first Democrat to withdraw in 2019 for the presidential race in the Democratic primary, before any caucus even came. that spoke value. Her campaign collapsed because people did not know who she was. That was the same problem in this campaign. People do not know who she is. She switches here, she switches there. Defund the police. Now she does it. Regulations to freedom of speech. Now it doesn't make sense. Fracking. Now she doesn't. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. And I think that's why she lost, honestly. And yeah, focus on middle class constituency. You would have had a better chance of winning the election, because what a lot of people don't understand, and what a lot of politicians don't understand, is that when you're an incumbent, your administration or your work is your campaign. Simple as that. It doesn't matter how long you campaign, doesn't matter how many rallies or how many campaign ads that you do. Your administration is your campaign. Because when you decide to run for re-election, people will be able to see what you have done, and if you've done a good enough job, they will elect you. Simple as that. Now, if that does decide to defy your expectations, I'm not sure what, maybe you've done a bad job, but if you've done a good job, and you still somehow lose, is kind of appalling, but I don't think that would happen even in a hypothetical situation. So you have that, and then you have her come in with that unpopular title. You have her come in under President Biden and expecting to see change. Flipping, doing the old switcheroo with Kamala from Biden is like peeing in your pants and changing your shirt. I'm pretty sure you've heard that, but if you didn't, you heard it now. It doesn't make sense. You know, you're going to get the same result. It's going to be a continuation of the Biden administration. The Biden and Harris administration. So, you have that. You have her holding this title. You have this, you have that, you have this. It's so, you can go on for so long talking about why she did not win. It's very simple. I don't think it would be fair to waste your time on why she didn't win, but I'll give you my point of view. It just wasn't going to happen. She was not going to attract those voters who were disenfranchised for 3.5 years for not getting what they wanted. They voted for Kamala and Biden, and then they see, if you just check the polling averages and you see from 81 to 82 million down to 74 million or 75 million, that's a pretty big difference. How do you have that fall from grace? How do you have that, like, six? I'm not doing the maths in my head, but just projecting. How do you fall 6 million votes? And the fact is, what's so surprising in this election is that Trump has done better than any other Republican since George W.H. Bush. Yeah, the father. So that speaks volume. And the states that did go Democratic, that took hours to project, which is obscene, they were like 5 points apart. You take a look at New Jersey, a highly Democratic state, 13, 14 electoral votes. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to the Democratic Party. New York, more of a margin in New York for Kamala Harris, but I think they were like 9 points apart, 8 points apart. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. California, flipping a lot of counties red before when they were blue. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So, this is the reason why she did not win. Because she did not focus on the American people. She lied. Who's gonna say it? She lied. She lied. Prime example of her lying. She said that Biden did good in the Situation Room when rumors went around. It was rumors, so I can't fact check it. That Jill was was making decisions for Joe. So someone who falls every time that they walk. You mean to tell me that they can handle being in the Situation Room? I don't think I believe it. I don't think I believe it. I don't think I believe it. So, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why she didn't win. There's a lot of reasons why we have President Trump that will eventually return to the White House, making the greatest comeback in American history. So it all falls down, but at the end of it, we all have to keep our heads high, hold our heads high, and close our fist. Close it, because this means power. So hold your head up high and close your fist.